Fortnite Chapter 4 has been out for a couple days now, and players are still trying to adjust to this brand new ability system called reality augments. But what happens when you unlock every augment in the game? Which ones are going to actually benefit you while playing? Today I'm breaking down each augment individually with statistical proof and myth busting to support it, while also ranking these abilities on a tier list to better visualize which ones you should or shouldn't be using. Hopefully at the end of this video you can get a good idea of which augments are more for you. If you aren't familiar with reality augments, these are essentially in-game buffs that are given to you randomly every few minutes. The first augment will only appear after 2.5 minutes after the battle bus animation, then the second at 5 minutes, third at 7.5, and the fourth and final after 10 minutes of play. You can also check when your next augment selection is in-game by opening up your inventory and flipping to the augments tab just right of it. From there you can view which ones you have equipped and the countdown for your next ability. Just remember, you can only hold up to a total of 4 augments per game, so let me break down each category individually to make your decision that much easier. There are 22 augments as of making this video, all of which are categorized into 4 unique sections, but we're starting off in combat. First, Assault, a pretty simple augment where the first bullet of your mag will deal an additional 6 to 7 damage. Remember, this is only for assault rifles. I tried this out for a bit, but surprisingly, it was a bit finicky. Sometimes the damage wouldn't increase even though the shot was clearly connecting, and other times I got a bit less. With that said, I don't see it benefiting your gameplay that much at all, so I'm putting first assault in. It's okay. If this was in competitive though, like FNCS or single lobby tournaments, this augment could be game changing for surge tags, but it's still very situational, so I'm leaving it there. Next up, we have Pistol Amp, which is an augment that increases your mag size of your pistol from 15 to 22 bullets. That's a 7 bullet increase for your magazine. It's not bad considering pistols are actually pretty reliable this season, but I still don't think it warrants taking up one of your 4 augment slots for a game on a simple mag upgrade. It could definitely be beneficial if comboed with another pistol upgrade, but on its own, it's not worth. Light Fingers. Now, this is an augment that increases the reload speed of all guns using light ammo, but the thing is, it seems to only work on pistols. That's actually not true. I continued testing this augment a little bit later on, but it's hardly noticeable on SMGs. It still works, but it only really makes a difference on pistols. But I'm putting this augment in. It's okay. Bow Specialist, on the other hand, although only useful for bows, it actually has a lot of benefits to it. Reload speed and draw time is increased, but more importantly, you automatically gain 2 arrows about every 15 seconds. So not only is your overall usage of the bow increased, but you have infinite arrows. Most of the bows aren't in competitive though, so would basically be pointless. But in casual play, whether for the memes or for clip potential, I'd put Bow Specialist as decent. Still, nothing that deserves a must-have or S tier on our tier list, but trust me when I say there's some crazy augments throughout this list, but this is definitely not one of them. Keeping in line with the bow theme, we have Mechanical Archer. This is the definition of a straightforward augment. You get an explosive and a shockwave bow. That's it. Realistically though, you aren't going to be using the explosive bow, but the shockwave bow is a different matter. It's great for pushing enemies out into the open and putting players into situations they didn't want to be in. I'm putting this augment as must-have. It's definitely close to an S tier, but there's better mobility options out there like the shockwave hammer. Next up, we have Demolitions Munitions, which has a chance to drop explosives every time you break an object. I used this augment for a couple games, and honestly, I was a bit underwhelmed by it. Objects only dropped grenades and rocket ammo when using this ability, but it never dropped RPGs, which was a bit interesting. I don't see any benefit in selecting this augment unless you're just trying to find some ammo for your rocket launcher. That's about it. Rifle Recycle makes weapons using medium ammo have a chance not to consume ammo. I found this ability would usually kick in about every 4 to 5 shots, so you're getting around 6 to 7 bullets per magazine if you're using a red dot or a scar, sometimes more. The fact that you don't have to think about this ability, it just runs in the background while you're playing, was a big plus for me. It's basically a magazine upgrade, but for all weapons using medium ammo, plus it's available in competitive, so Rifle Recycle probably goes to decent for me. Tactical Armory. Now, this one's a classic. The fact that an augment grants you not only a combat shotgun, but a tactical AR, I think is a bit overpowered. They're both pretty decent weapons overall, and that's a free loadout just like that. It's also in both competitive and casual play, so honestly, I'm putting this one straight to S tier, the highest tier on our tier list. It is a bit of a rare ability. It took me a couple games just to find it, so you're not going to be using this every game unless you have a bunch of gold just to re-roll the augments. Last on our list is Rushing Reload, an augment augment that reloads your shotgun while running. However, it only works while you're tactical sprinting, and it only works if you have the shotgun equipped before you start sprinting. Honestly, it's too particular and situational of an augment for me. I'm gonna put this straight into not worth. Moving on to the game changer category, we have two of some of the best reality augments in the game: Aerialist and Shotgunner. Aerialist gives you glider redeploy for the rest of the game, which I'm gonna say right now, this is going straight to S tier for me. Not only is it in casual and competitive play, it doesn't take up any extra slots, and it works just the same as Chapter 1 glider redeploy. Also, if you're using the Shockwave Hammer with Aerialist, the combo is spectacular. Shotgunner is as simple as they come. It drops you a chug cannon. Who doesn't like chug cannons? I will add though, this augment is not available in competitive, and some people may prefer 2 med slots over the chug cannon. So in that case, I'm putting this augment as a must-have. I don't think it makes S tier just yet. Now onto mobility and scouting. This is where things get a little bit interesting. Up first, we have more parkour, which is an augment that allows your energy to regenerate briefly after mantling or hurdling. What some people don't realize though is that the regeneration works just like the new slap drink in the game. Every time you mantle or hurdle over an object, you'll have unlimited stamina for exactly 7 seconds. If you're in build mode, you can also place down a wall, edit the top part, and mantle over just to keep that infinite sprint going. I'm probably putting this one in decent, in fact, probably top of decent. Super handy for all game modes. Supercharged allows your vehicles to have increased HP and unlimited fuel, which honestly is pretty nice to have. It's not in competitive though, and when do you actually run out of fuel? Probably not that much. I'm gonna put it in it's okay. Bloodhound, which is an ability that turns your marksman rifle and bows into temporary shadow trackers. After getting hit, enemies will be marked for the next 10 seconds. Having the ability to track down a player that you just hit when you're in the middle of a fight, I'd say is pretty useful. This one is top of decent for me. Bush Warrior is a crazy one. It allows you to regenerate up to 100 HP and 50 shields just by hiding in bushes. It's about 8 to 10 health per second, so it's pretty fast all things considering. Now, I tried this augment while in the zone, and it doesn't seem to work. You can go in and out and regenerate a little bit of health, but I think Epic are trying to counter healing in the zone strats, so it's basically useless in the zone. Also, the regeneration only works on large foliage like bushes and leaf piles. It doesn't work in hay bales and wheat fields. Regardless, this is a passive healing ability, and it works both in competitive and casual play, so I'm putting this in must-have. Up next, we have Party Time, which is a bit of a meme augment from Epic, but I love it. The only issue is these balloons just spawn on your character every 30 seconds, and there's no way you can cancel or pause it. So you're kind of just stuck with this augment the whole game, balloons spawning on you randomly while you play, and it gets a bit annoying after a while. But if you're doing memes for video or getting a clip with the Shockwave Hammer, 100% this is a banger augment for you. This one probably stays at bottom of decent for me. Tricked Out is another pretty simple one to get. Whenever you enter a car, that car gets the upgraded wheels and cowcatcher attached to it. These upgrades do not disappear when you leave the car, so they're on for the rest of the game. You can also hop into however many cars you want, and the wheels and the cowcatcher will just apply to those cars, so it's a pretty good ability. I'd say this is another decent ranked augment for me, but it's not in competitive, so take that as you will. Forecast is another great augment. This one allows you to always see the next storm circle. It's like that Storm Scout rifle exotic we used to have, but it doesn't take up a weapon slot, and it's always there for the rest of the game. Nothing else to say about this one. Goes straight into must-have. It can also be used in competitive, so your rotates and positioning in tournaments are going to be so much better with this activated. Talking about storm upgrades, there's another one called Storm Mark, which pings a small radius around you and highlights any nearby enemies for about 15 seconds. This definitely benefits from this one, but it's only whenever the next zone is shown, so you're only getting a few pings per game. It's not even in competitive, so for me, I'm just putting it into not worth. Last in this category is Soaring Sprints. Now, this one's a bit of a 50-50 for me with the pros and the cons. On one side, you can move faster across the map with higher jump and low grav to counter fall damage. But when you actually try it out, it only works while you're tactical sprinting, which is limited unless you're using slap juice. It doesn't work in the water while swimming, and you're also a pretty big target when you low grav into the air, so it's a much higher chance to get beamed. This one probably sits at bottom of decent for me, maybe even just it's okay. But now moving on to our final category called looting. There are two reality augments in this section, Splash Medic and Jelly Angler. With Splash Medic, you have a chance to find a single chug splash in containers you open like ammo boxes, chests, S-keys, etc. This one will be pretty handy in competitive, especially if you and your teammate have this augment activated. Finding those extra meds will be super helpful. Overall, not a bad ability, but nothing too crazy. This one's probably sitting at decent for me. Jelly Angler, which is another odd one. It grants you a fishing rod, but whenever you fish, you only fish up jellyfish, which I guess is kind of cool. I don't know. Not an augment for me, but I'm sure someone out there likes holding a bunch of jellyfish, so fair enough. Good on you. Jelly Angler is probably way better in squads and big team game modes, but it's basically pointless in solos and duos. I reckon this augment it's all right. It's nothing crazy. And there we have it, guys. Every reality augment broken down and showcased on a tier list. At the end of the day, these can all benefit you in some way. It just depends on your playstyle and what game mode you're playing, because different augments can benefit you differently depending on if you're in competitive or not. But the ones in must-have in S tier are probably going to be your go-to augments every game. But that's it for me, guys. Hope you're enjoying Fortnite Chapter 4 as much as I am. Catch you guys in the next video. Peace.